Hello everyone. Great presentation from Ed. Always big fans of what Arbitrum guys are doing in the optimistic roll-up space. Uh, my presentation today is about the state of Polygon, and the biggest thing
Yeah, I
that
never
is
turned
going
it off though.
on in the Polygon ecosystem is Polygon 2.0. So I'm going to talk about some of these things, especially like as you all know that Polygon in 2021 we took a very deep bet on the ZK ecosystem, and we kind of allocated like $1 billion in our treasury for ZK, and were able to onboard some of the best ZK talent in the space. Yesterday somebody was joking into me that they are looking for some ZK researchers, but they can't find one because most of the good ones work at Polygon. So, in ZK we have been doing some amazing work, and many of you guys know that we have the most advanced, the first ZK EVM, fully audited, fully mature, on-chain verifiable, ZK EVM, which is there, and then users are testing it. It has hundreds of thousands of addresses who have interacted with us, around 40 to 50,000 smart contracts. Still very early days in the ZK EVM's growth curve, but we are like slowly getting ready for explosive growth on ZK EVM. And DeFi is constantly growing over there, and as you know that with ZK rollups, they have fast withdrawal times, and now the proving optimizations, due to proving optimizations of Polygon, the cost of proving ZK, the transactions in ZK is also super cheap. So very soon you're going to have, like, I mean, you already have this layer 2, but at a much higher liquidity, kind of in the ecosystem, where you can actually deposit from Ethereum and withdraw your funds back in 30 minutes or less, and having a full-blown ZK roller for you guys. We are constantly optimizing for the performance and everything, and testing. There have been some mass campaigns on ZK EVM, and is slowly getting ready for the prime time. Many of the people who are active into the ZK research space, about Plonky 2. Plonky 2 is is our fastest library for the ZK, generating ZK proofs. We are already working on Plonky 3. Plonky 2 was basically around 100 to 1,000 times faster than any other competitor available in the market. And so much so that many of you guys might have seen that a lot of other our competitors in the ZK space, or not competitors, like people who are building in the ZK ecosystem, are like now actually copying or approach or directly taking the code, because it's open source, anybody can take it. But point being that we continue to lead the ZK development at our end. And then many of you guys might also know about the Maiden rollup that we are working. Ed was talking about Stylus, amazing product where you can have these C++ or Rust and different kind of languages on top of Ethereum as a layer 2. Polygon Maiden is our approach, where it's a custom VM, much faster, doesn't have the state bloat issues of EVM and all those things. Privacy, like not like immediate privacy, but the roadmap with which it can add privacy in the coming days, client side computation, so many amazing and kind of sci-fi things that we used to think about the blockchains. These will be made available with the Maiden. So that's like a little bit about the ZK side of Polygon. But then let's talk about Polygon 2.0, like why we are calling, like we're talking about Polygon 2.0 so much, and why this is such a big thing. I want to talk about Polygon 2.0 by talking about Web 2 world today. If you see the Web 2 world today, it has two critical properties why we have this internet which has taken over the whole globe. First, that it has practically infinite scalability. Like more applications come into the space, you can spin up more and more servers, you can have more and more applications. There's no foundation, nobody is stopping us that, hey, we don't have the bandwidth, don't launch more applications, more mobile apps, more web apps, right? So it's infinitely scalable, practically unlimited scalability, you can say. And the second thing is, this current Web 2 is more like the internet of information, right? And as you see that with the current internet, the Web 2 world, we can create, like we are speaking here, we are together in this conference, and this conference might be broadcasted all across the world. We don't have to think about like, oh, we are generating this information in Singapore and how do we broadcast it to the US? We have to go to the US internet. Like nobody is doing that. But if you see the Web3 world, this is the scenario. Like I am on Ethereum. If I want to do something on other chain, I have to deposit my funds. I go there. So this seamlessness is not there in value, because Web3 is the internet of value. The way Web2 is internet of information, Web3 is this internet of value. And for this Web3 to really grow at the global level, you need these two capabilities. So that first, infinite and unlimited scalability, unbounded scalability, and unified liquidity for the value. Like value should not be like, you have 100 chains and the value is distributed across those chains. They cannot interop. So that is why the whole vision of Polygon 2.0, I'll talk about that how it works. But the vision is unlimited scalability and unified liquidity. How do we achieve that with Polygon 2.0? So essentially what we are building is this value layer of internet. I will show you, like, currently, as I said, that if you are building any kind of app chain or public chain, it kind of, because we are seeing a hyper blockchainization of world with all these blockchain stacks and whatnot, and the liquidity and the user interactions are getting fragmented. How do you bring them all back is basically is our proposal or kind of architecture of Polygon 2.0 that we have said. What you can do here is, we recently launched Polygon CDK. Now, Polygon CDK is the culmination of all of our open source technologies. We have packaged them into this CDK or stack, whatever you want to call it. And today the state is that you can use an implementation partner like Gateway. Yesterday they announced you can spin up your ZK rollup, fully functional, fully provable, and Ethereum secured ZK rollup in a matter of 7 to 10 minutes. What it means is, even if I am a college dorm student and I want to launch my startup in Web3, I can spin up my ZK rollup chain in a matter of 7 to 10 minutes. It's almost equivalent to I am spinning up my servers on AWS. So as many people, as many applications want their own block space, and this is also dedicated block space, they can spin up these chains. But when you spin up so many number of these chains, like tens or thousands of chains, in future, how do you make sure that this value, just like I talked about, the information is seamless around a whole internet, like how the value can be seamless across these chains, is we have introduced this aggregator layer or interop layer, you can call it. How it works is that all these chains are ZK proven. They submit their proof into one common layer. Right now, this common layer will be on Ethereum only. So all these chains submit their proofs to the Ethereum layer, and the moment those proofs are submitted on Ethereum layer, we have a mechanism where we have a global state root on Ethereum, and then any kind of liquidity can move across the chain without coming to Ethereum. Like right now, for a simple example, any one of you uses like layer 2s or any other thing. If you are on a particular layer 2 chain and you want to go to another layer 2 chain trustlessly without using a third-party bridge, because obviously we know so many problems have happened in the third-party bridges, what I need to do is I need to withdraw my funds to Ethereum and then deposit into the other chain, right? But with this kind of aggregation layer with the ZK proofs, your liquidity can move from one chain to another without coming to Ethereum. Once the chain submits the ZK proof, you can take the funds to the other side. This is the current state of affairs. This is what is going to be available in like a matter of 4 to 8 weeks, this kind of interoperability. This interoperability is also a little bit slow because all the chains are submitting the ZK proofs to Ethereum, which is costly. So every chain can only submit like maybe 30 minutes, right? So you have roughly 30 minutes of interoperability here. And obviously with the ZK proofs, you can have cross-chain transactions and cross-chain smart contract interactions also. But in next 2 quarters or so, we are going to launch this aggregation layer. This aggregation layer is a fast aggregation layer. You can imagine this layer as a separate layer which is combining all the proofs from all these chains, because I mentioned about the Plonky 2. So the aggregation layer, which is Plonky 2, is essentially recursive ZK proving technology, wherein all these chains submit their ZK proofs. They get recursively combined into one single proof, and that one single proof goes to Ethereum. So instead of all of these chains submitting their proofs to Ethereum, which is very costly, they can submit the proof to this aggregation layer much faster, let's say 10 seconds, 20 seconds, or even 30 seconds, and our goal is that this proving will eventually go down to probably 2 seconds. So every chain is submitting a proof of whatever has happened on their ecosystem or on their chain every 2 seconds to this aggregator layer. The moment you have the moment you have a ZK proof, all the chains can see that there is a ZK proof, and it's a mathematical hard proof. Nobody then needs to trust that what kind of chain is that. Like chain, is there chain 1, chain 2, chain 3? If there is a chain 5, I don't need to trust the chain 5, whether it's run by 100,000 validators, whether it is run by some large institutions, or it is run by a college dorm student which is doing a startup. I don't need to trust the chain. I just trust the mathematics. I just trust the cryptography, which is the ZK proof. The moment I receive a ZK proof and there is a cross-chain transaction coming in to my chain, let's say I am running chain number 2, and the moment there is ZK proof is submitted, a cross-chain transaction from chain number 5 comes, I can see that this transaction is a part of this ZK proof. That means this chain till this transaction, which is being submitted to me as a cross chain, is working fine. And when these chains are submitting at a very high speed, like 2 seconds to 3 seconds, now you can have a cross chain transaction getting executed in 4 to 5 seconds, which is almost like, 1/3 of Ethereum block time. So with Polygon 2.0, all these chains and this block space will more and more in the coming days, as technology and this middleware, a lot of applications, we invite a lot of middleware builders, and this, if you are building your startups in crypto, this could be a very big opportunity where these cross chains, the chains are going to be there, and then but for all these cross chain interactions you need these services, and those kind of services, those protocols can be built on top of it. And once this technology and these protocols mature more and more, you will see that all of these chains, whether there are 10 chains, 100 chains, 1,000 chains, they start feeling like one single big block space. And this whole chain, we don't call it a chain, we call it like the value layer of internet. But this value layer of internet almost starts feeling like one single block space. The way you feel, again, I'm coming back to this, that, in Web 2, all the information seems like we are a part of the same internet. That is going to be happening with the value, where all these chains will feel like one single block space. Applications can interact with each other, compose with each other at a much, much faster time. And then we have a lot of other things, like people are looking to build optimistic, without even 2 seconds of proof. The moment you have a transaction, an optimistic kind of construction between these 2 seconds of proof, where you can all have an instant transaction from one chain to another. But all those things are possible to build on top of it, and we invite more and more builders to build on top of it. And then Polygon CDK, I already talked, we recently announced, and there are already a large number of applications that are building on it. I'll talk about them. Interoperability layer, I already said that this interoperability layer is essentially going to combine all the ZK proofs. Everybody submits the ZK proofs to this interop layer, and then we submit one single proof to the Ethereum chain. And you can see that the benefit of this is that you have ZK EVM, Polygon POS chain, these big high liquidity chains are already there, but then you can have a lot of these app chains which are able to benefit from the liquidity of these public chains. And what is happening is, very soon, this is some alpha I'm dropping here, very soon you're going to hear that some large and some of the top layer 1s are joining this, because you see that a lot of layer 1s want to be layer 2s and whatnot, and a lot of layer 1s are also considering this because the best part about this is that any chain that is connected to this network can be fully sovereign. So there can be a layer 1 chain which has its own validators, own staking and everything, own governance, and they are just connected to the overall layer with everyone with ZK proof. They're just submitting their ZK proof. So it's much easier, much less intrusive for anyone else, anybody can join this layer, and the benefit, it's a mutual win-win because everybody wins from each other's liquidity. That means the value flowing through this. So this layer is very, very important. And then one part of the Polygon 2.0 is also this token migration. We we rebranded from MATIC network to Polygon back in 2020 or around like end of 2020, and we already had committed to our community that the token will also migrate to this Pole token, because MATIC token was a single chain ecosystem, and then Pole token is one which is going to represent this multi-chain environment, and it will be a one-to-one swap. There are a few changes in the economics that we have proposed. Any of you guys who are following, they will see that the base supply remains the same, and then we have added 1% of validator reward every year, which will go to the validators, and there is 1% of these 1% of this thing goes to the community treasury, because Polygon token is live there in the market for last 4 or 5 years, and you have like a lot of new projects coming in with much large treasuries. So Polygon ecosystem, as you know, that it's one of the biggest, probably the biggest ecosystem after Ethereum in terms of the apps and developers building on it. It needs to preserve its competitive advantage in terms of being able to onboard more and more developers. Luckily, everything is going fine. Community likes that proposal. Similarly, this token, about the Pole token, that we said that the nature of Polygon token is, we call it a third generation token. Why? Because the first generation was BTC, where BTC, as a BTC holder, you cannot contribute to the network by participating in the network. You can just hold it. Whereas with Ethereum, especially with the proof of stake update, now if you hold Ethereum, you can use Ethereum to stake to a validator, which you believe is a high quality validator, and contribute to the more security and maturity of the ecosystem. But with Polygon, why we call it a third generation ecosystem is, here you can not only validate on one single layer, you can validate on multiple chains, because we also, I didn't talk about the staking layer, where this is an enshrined restaking, where everybody can just stake their MATIC or the Pole token, and then any app chain, which is very hard for them to have like hundreds of validators. Any app chain needs any additional validators, they can just request the chain that I need 10 validators, and then Pole validators can go and stake. So people can validate, the Polygon holders can validate on multiple chains, and also they can take multiple roles. They can be an aggregator, they can be a validator or sequencer, they can be eventually decentralized provers. They can also provide data availability clusters, local data. We are not doing a global data availability layer, but there are local data availability clusters if the chains who wants to use their own data availability clusters. So that's about the tech. In terms of the state of the ecosystem, as many of you guys might know, especially with immutable and all that, we are like probably by at least an order of magnitude biggest platform in gaming, because if you speak around, if you are active in the Web3 gaming space, you will see 90 out of 100 games would be building on either directly on Polygon chains or immutable or other Polygon ecosystem players. You know that in terms of the brands, like I think there are already leaked reports that Grab itself, which is super big in in this part of the world, they have also launched a Web3 wallet, and obviously they started as with the Polygon wallet. Similarly, in DeFi, we are still the number 3. We have not done any incentives for last 2 years in DeFi, but still the Polygon DeFi ecosystem is still the number 3 ecosystem. And in terms of DEX transactions, you see it's at times number 1 ecosystem by the number of transactions. The total amount, we are like number 3, Ethereum being the number 1, Arbitrum on the number 2 in DeFi. In NFTs, recently, there is a resurgence in the NFT ecosystem, and Polygon ecosystem is now number 2 in NFTs. And in app chains also, you will see some of these brands. I think you guys all know that Starbucks and Nike and Adidas, everyone, like every new brand you hear every month that they were building on Polygon. And then on the Polygon CDK, this is kind of an odorless ride. This has already increased to, in the last 1 week, 7. Like you have Gnosis Pay, you have immutable ZK EVM, you have a lot of other projects like Newbank, heavyweights like Newbank. You have DeFi native projects like IDEX, Aavegotchi. There are so many high-profile projects which are already adopting CDK. And as I said, I dropped some alpha that some big L1s are also going to join us in this creating this value layer of internet. And some of the partnerships that you guys know on gaming and all that front. That's all from my side.